All right. All right. We have actually uh some news. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna crack this Dr. Pepper, and we're gonna hop right in. And by some news, I mean there's a lot of news. Um, First off, we'll start with we'll go in order of when we got them. So full Mythic Plus rotation revealed. Obviously, we have Dawnbreaker, Arakara, Floodgate, and Priory. We knew those four from the vote that we did for which dungeons we wanted to see. New dungeon, Echo Dome Aldani, and then the return of Halls of Atonement, Tazavesh Streets, and Tazavesh Gambit from Shadowlands. So I'm excited for this season. I think it'll be really fun. Um, Honestly, out of all of these, now obviously we don't know like how they're going to be tuned or anything, but Dawnbreaker might be one of my least favorites out of this selection. But first, a piece of important news. Secondly, we have hero talent tier sets. So what it seems to me is that depending on the spec you play, Protection Warrior, you'll get to choose between a tier set themed more around Colossus or a tier set themed more around Mountain Thane, which I think that's really fun because it'll invite people to play more than just one spec, one hero talent tree. It will invite people to try out the different tier set, and if they're like a tier set, one's better for single target, one's better for Mythic Plus, like that kind of stuff, I like that. But if they're both competitive in both areas, that would be really fun to see and have it be more of an even split. Now, obviously, I'm going to find what is the best and what feels best for me, but everyone has the ability to do that. And if you want to play Mountain Thane Protection Warrior instead of Colossus, like they're playing Colossus this season, if they want to play Mountain Thane, they'll get a Mountain Thane tier set that's probably themed around Thunderblast, as the article is saying here, which I think that will be really cool. Let me take a sip of this. And let's continue on. So, Manaforge Omega Raid. So, Manaforge Omega is the raid. So, it's located in Koresh. Manaforge is a facility built by ethereals to harvest cosmic energy. Shadow Guard ethereals. Void Lord Dementius. Is that who we're gonna. Is that gonna be the final boss then? He's gonna be massive. The biggest boss ever made. Comparable in size to Stormwind City? How is that gonna work? I'm very curious how that's gonna work. I'm excited for it. I think this could be a really cool raid. So there's no official boss list, but the following bosses: a warden protecting the entrance pipes, an army of ethereals. So this is going to be a big AOE fight. Probably a more single target, like first boss, like your gnarl root. Hopefully, moth-like creature, mysterious council of demon hunters. So there's the council fight, and then Dementius, the final boss. I'm assuming. Not much shared about the new raid. Harvest pipes. Reishi wraps? I don't know if I'm saying that right. But this is gonna be a back. um Oh wow. Are these screenshots from this looks like it could be really cool. Alright. So now artifact cloak, the Reishi. I don't know how to pronounce that. So someone can tell me that. Phase diving. So this is going to be an upgradable artifact cloak. So it'll be like a Heart of Azeroth, Ashurakamas, the legendary back, N'Zoth cloak. Warbound as well. Oh, that's awesome. Have that be Warbound. Because I remember with the BFA back, the N'Zoth back, you had to grind it on every single character. And I hated that. I really did not enjoy that whatsoever. So, yeah, So we have to use that, obviously. It's saying we do have to use it. But that should be really, really cool. So patch 11.2, class updates for Shadow Priest, Brewmaster Monk, Frost, and Unholy DK. At a glance, we have those. We'll take a look at these. So, new city hub, Tazavesh the Veiled. Hold on a minute. Are we just gonna go to? Is Tazavesh gonna be like the main hub of this patch? That would be pretty cool. New system, ecological succession. Not just a dungeon. It's been brought from the Shadowlands to serve as a home base for adventurers. Oh. New raid. Oh, I love the aesthetic. All the purples. Trade and scale with you and get new visuals. Wrap up and go phase diving. Is this going to be kind of like Horrific Visions, maybe? I don't know. Found within the Azure Vaults within the Dragon Isles. Counter Ethereals. Okay, that's a delve. New system. Help Venari bring life back to Koresh with her ecodomes. So Venari's coming back from Shadowlands. Ecodome Aldani. Face the Wastelanders. Oh, they're like the Devourers from Shadowlands. Those will be pretty cool. Tazavesh is a full mega dungeon. New class updates. Okay, nothing really there. New class sets, PvP updates. All right. So the new dungeon. What's going to be going on in here? 3 bosses. This feels like it could be interesting. Gives me kind of like Everbloom vibes. More interesting. The dungeon follows after the events of the raid. Canonical routes that the storyline takes place is the campaign, the raid, then Ecodome Aldani. Not a thing we do often. Okay, interesting. So this storyline, the dungeon story, is after that. Cool. Improving dungeon checkpoints in patch 11.2. Dungeon waystones. Understand where checkpoints would be. Similar to dungeon meeting stones. Okay, that's pretty cool. I think that's a good change. I do like that. Season 3 champion gear from Mythic Zeros? No way. Champion gear from the champion gear from Mythic Zeros on patch day. I think this is going to make gearing that first week actually a little bit more fun, because then you're not grinding for like Or is it always champion gear? I feel like it was veteran gear. Either way, champion gear available is nice. Non-bountiful delves or bosses. Yeah, the first week there's not really going to be much. Either way, void-themed demon hunters. I mean, new spec for demon hunter maybe? That could be interesting. Nexus Princess Kaiveza returns as Season 3's Delve Nemesis. I'm not a big Delve person, but for those who are, I'm sure this will be a pretty cool thing. I do wish she came back as a raid boss. That would be pretty cool to have. I wish the Delve Nemesis were raid bosses so that we could actually do them. But, you know, you get what you get. Now, this is probably a big one. Mythic Plus levers finally penalized with a deserter system. Mythic Plus deserter system will be implemented in Season 3 that will mark frequent levers in LFG. Mythic Plus levers are one of the frustrating things that happen to your key. Players voice their concern on this topic. Does it even take add a deserter debuff to all players who leave any group finder dungeon early? Okay. I didn't know that they did it for all group finder stuff. Be more details that come up as put up an abandon vote and essentially on a dungeon if things aren't working well. If the group agrees, you disband. So it's like most recent thing I can think of, or most relevant, is voting to surrender in ranked Marvel Rivals. I played that for a bit between Season 1 and Season 2. So voting for surrender in a ranked game, this is going to be kind of like that. Okay. If you're on good behavior and you're finishing keystones, it's just unfortunate because sometimes, like, people will be like, no, we're not gonna do this, or like, we can finish it, but it's gonna take like an hour, and you're like, I don't have the time to do that. Either way, so these are some questions that they'll look. Someone leaves the group before the vote, can the rest of the players leave, or do they need to vote still? That's a good question to think about. DCs count as leaving. Thresholds for someone being marked as a leaver. Yeah, they won't ever say that, but will players be able to abuse recovering from a mark by queuing and abandoning any dungeon instant? Huh. I don't know how this will work. I think it is probably better. I don't deal with levers a lot that don't have a reason to leave. Like, if things are going bad, yeah, it's kind of understandable when you leave like that. But when I look at like times where people have just left for one mistake or no reason, it's not that many. I also play with full groups more often than not, so it's interesting to think. And then Tazavesh hard mode returns. Uh, individual Mythic Plus wings. The default for Tazavesh 0 is hard mode. Okay. I kind of like that. Why hasn't the communication or information asymmetry mechanics that are relatively present? Mechanics technically wouldn't need add-ons. Are there plans to use these types or explore these types of mechanics again with all the changes on? Yeah, I don't know. But the hard mode is returning. Baseline Mythic 0 is hard mode, which is pretty cool. But that'll be pretty awesome. So that's a lot of news today. I don't normally make like a news coverage video, but I felt like the season 3 dungeon rotation, this is honestly probably the coolest thing to me is hero talent tier sets, dungeon checkpoints. I think it was worth it to kind of look at all of these to, you know, see what we have going on. Let me read through it, give you guys my initial thoughts on most of these. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about some of these changes. And, whoa, voice crack. And I'll see you guys next time.